And for more on this, let's bring in senior geopolitical strategist, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Darren Gobb, senior energy and environmental legal institute fellow, former Trump EPA transition team member, and the founder of junkscience.com, Steve Milloy, along with former senior advisor to Presidents Trump and Bush, senior fellow at the Center for the National Interest, Christian Whiten. Gentlemen, welcome to all of you. Steve, I'm going to start with you here. Just give us your reaction to what President Trump has said specifically, that he will basically be running the money from all of that Venezuelan oil. For a lot of people will push back on that, saying, how can he do that legally? Is it fair? And you say what?
I think it's a tremendous move. I mean, over the weekend, we captured basically the largest oil reserve in the world, much larger than Saudi Arabia. We're going to hold it in trust for the Venezuelan people. We're going to manage it. So we're going to maximize the revenue. There's nothing going out of Venezuela oil-wise, without President Trump's knowledge and permission. So I just think it's a fantastic move all around. I mean, we have crippled OPEC. Venezuela is an OPEC member, but I assume Venezuela is going to be coming out of OPEC. We're never going to have to worry about oil prices again because we're going to control such a large chunk of global oil reserves. I mean, in Venezuela, we have everything we need from fracking in the United States. I mean, what a great moment to be an American.
Yeah, as we pointed out throughout the week, we have more oil than anyone.
Right.
When seizing Venezuela's oil. I also want to point this out. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he's commented on these seizures that have been going on. This is what he said, and I think it brings it full circle what's going on here. Understand the only way they can move oil, this is Venezuela, generate revenue and not have an economic collapse is if they cooperate and work with the United States. Christian, that kind of seems like that's it. You know, moving forward, we're running Venezuela, and if they don't want their country to go down the tubes here, they're going to have to cooperate.
Right, I think so. And it's a way that we can hopefully effect an evolution in Venezuela, a change away from their nefarious ways of this government, which, frankly, I want to remind people owes us a lot of money. This, wasn't just Maduro. He succeeded Chavez. He was a protege of Chavez who came to power in 1999 and expropriated a whole lot of American property. So they owe us a whole lot of money. Maybe we'll recoup some, maybe not. But how do you continue the change without actually invading with the full force of the U.S. military? You do it through this. And it also is turning the screws on the biggest bad actor in the region, which is probably Cuba. Cuba was the one who supposedly was protecting Maduro. I guess they didn't do such a good job. And they're the ones who are around a lot of the bad actions around this region. So we're putting pressure on the bad guys, and hopefully the good guys prevail.
Colonel Gobb, a question that might be naive, but how, geopolitically, how is it that the United States can say, okay, look, we now have all of this oil from Venezuela. How can we just declare that it is suddenly ours?
Well, yeah, Katrina, that's a great question, and I think one of the challenges that people have is exactly that. It's like we're saying, what would stop other countries from just declaring stuff in America that belonging to them? Well, one of the big differences here is that America is the one who, and our oil companies are the ones who built the oil infrastructure in Venezuela in the first place. And then it was stolen out from underneath us by it getting nationalized under Chavez and on through Maduro. And essentially, they took it from us first, all that infrastructure that allowed them to get those resources out of the ground. And in the end, all we're trying to do is say, we're not trying to, conquer your country or take it from you. We're trying to build the economic ties again that can elevate both nations. All that oil is going somewhere anyways. It's Iran, Russia, North Korea, China, and all our adversaries. We're saying, let's get our infrastructure back. Let's rebuild it to what it can be. And then as a result, both nations can actually thrive even better economically as a result.
Steve, timeline. How long do you think it takes? And we know President Trump said this week he wants to meet with oil company executives to get in there, to rebuild, geological surveys, whatever that might be. I'm not an oil expert. What are we looking at here until it starts coming out of the ground?
Well, I think, it's coming out of the ground, just not very quickly, very efficiently. I think we're looking at years to get Venezuela up and running at full capacity. They nationalized their oil industry a long time ago. Their equipment is old, needs to be replaced, refurbished. I think it's going to take years. I mean, we have to really get control on the ground first. American oil companies are not going into Venezuela while the Maduro regime is essentially still running things. So we've got to see what that timeline is, and then get in there and assess it. I mean, maybe it's only a year or so before we start really improving things, but it's probably going to be longer.
Christian, I want to get to this quickly before we run out of time. We know that Russia has said that the U.S. seizure of the tanker where they painted on the Russian flag was illegal, was akin to piracy. Take us a few steps ahead. Any implications that you see here?
Yeah, well, boo-hoo. Russia just invaded Ukraine and is a menace. Not that we're doing the same thing back. We showed incredible restraint. The Coast Guard spent over a week or two tracking these vessels. Donald Trump could have ordered these ships sawed in half at any time by the U.S. Navy or Air Force. But instead, we seized them under legal process. Painting a Russian flag on the side of your ship and saying all of a sudden you're registered in Moscow is not going to protect you if you're running a shadow fleet in violation of sanctions against Iran, Venezuela, and Russia. Simple as that.
Okay, got to leave it there. Colonel Gobb, Steve, Christian, thanks for coming on. Good to see all three of you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.